Hey everyone out there in the land of YouTube, this is Annette Dion. I'm the host and founder of the Psychic News Network, coming to you from the northeastern corner of Massachusetts on the coast. I have a lot to tell you about in terms of news, as usual, because there's so much news, but I just want everyone to take a moment and think about where we were 1 year ago today. It kind of reminds me of Jimmy Kimmel has a spot that says a year ago in COVID news, but I'm not thinking about COVID news at the moment. A year ago, October 9th, 2020, we were really very, very, very anxiety ridden about the election that was coming up last year at this time. So as really difficult as things have been in terms of feeling like we are, just like a car, just the brakes let go and it's coming down a steep hill, gonna crash. At least it seems a little slower. I don't think it's gonna crash. But in other words, 45 was in charge and had all this unreined in power. So it's a lot more reined in nowadays. Let's just keep our eye on that. I know that things are tough, that Americans, many Americans are acting like untamed animals in the wild, and it's really disturbing. It's quite disturbing. And I just keep being reminded that when the light gets brighter, the dark doesn't like it, and the dark gets, when the light gets shown on the darkness doesn't like it. So it acts out even more. And we are in a genuine fight between the dark and the light. And I want to remind you, the light and the love always wins. It's always more powerful. So don't lose sight of that. Do not forget. Another thing I wanted to tell you is I did mention that for the past, going on a year, since December 2020, I started a church called Church of Spirituality to fulfill the need for spiritual upliftment in a country, in the world, I guess, where the concept of a higher power has really been lost in the dogma of religion and the laws of religion, and people aren't into that, and for the most part, I'm just talking in general terms. I have tons of extensive training in spiritual literature, and I'm not a biblical scholar, but we do pull from the Bible, and anyway, not exclusively. So that has been on Facebook Live every single Sunday since December 6, 2020. With the Zuckerberg fiasco, it's against my code of morals and ethics to stay on Facebook. So I'm solely on Facebook right now, just to sort of actually to gather my videos from all those church services for one. But I'm transferring that Church of Spirituality to YouTube. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to put it on the same channel in lieu of building a new channel. So you don't have to watch it. It's an hour long. It's a one-woman show. I do the music. I choose the sacred readings. I do a sermon. It's a church service. So it's Church of Spirituality, and then this is the first week that I'm going to record it on my own, because I can only do live once I have 1,000 subscribers. I'm going to just record it, post it. You don't have to watch it. I won't be offended if you don't watch it, but it is a spiritually uplifting message. So there's that. That's all I have for announcements, and a little bit of thought-provoking discussion in terms of the light is winning, so don't think that it isn't. This is the hardship that we go through before the light has won. And boy, I mean, it's scary. Not Halloween scary, like my Halloween. Not Halloween scary, scary like reality scary. You know what I'm saying? So don't be too caught up in the darkness. The guides keep telling me over and over, don't fall into the fear trap. If you get too much fear going on, then you're feeding that energy, and you're actually the metaphysical law says if we are in fear, like, who was it that said there's nothing to fear but fear itself? It was a president, but I don't know if it was Truman. I don't want to get the wrong president. There's nothing to fear but fear itself. There's a lot of truth to that statement because fear energy is low vibration. So if you're going to fear, then you really want to just turn it off. Turn off what's making you feel afraid. And, you can do something proactive to help this, whatever the thing is, the cause that's, or the news that's making you feel fearful. You can donate to a fund that's, promoting, fighting for our voting rights and our democracy. For example, if you're freaked out about the environment, as we all should be, based on what's going on, we can donate to Greenpeace or, whatever you feel. I'm just saying, okay, do something that is an activist act, and then raise your vibration by going to laughter, going to, maybe if you like to bake, you can bake some pumpkin muffins or something, or, go call a friend and go for a walk, or, bring the energy vibration up, because we are all vibration. And when people pray and intend for each other, as you see with many of the psychics on YouTube who have taken it upon themselves to ask for prayers for this one and prayers for that one. And just as a side note, we do that at Church of Spirituality also. We pray for people. It does work. It does work. So just let that, sink in, that when you choose prayer and peace feelings over fear, it makes a difference in the collective. All right, I'm preaching already, and it's only Saturday night. So let's take a look at the cards. I did recently, find my Halloween tarot, which I noticed Black and Orange had these, she uses these the other day. I saw that. And I went, oh my goodness, I have that deck. And so I'm not going to use this deck tonight because I think it takes a little for people getting used to it. And because it's like, they're great, great, great drawings. I like to give credit where credit is due. By the artist for the Halloween tarot is Kipling West. And sometimes our lives seem shadowy and it's hard to tell what's around the next corner, much like Halloween night, when what is imagined probably is much scarier than is really going on. That's uncanny. I was just kind of saying that in a way. Sometimes it's not as bad as we're thinking. Okay, so we're not going to use these tonight, but we're going to use them next time, I think, as it gets closer and closer to Halloween. So that's the Halloween tarot. Really awesome artwork. And like I said, Black and Orange uses these, and when I saw her using them, I was like, I have those cards. I love those cards. Let's get to the news, shall we? 6 minutes in and counting. No, 8 minutes in. Good Lord. Blah, 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 Annette. Okay. The Cosmic Tarot. Let's use the Cosmic Tarot. Let's see what's going on with Mr. Bannon as I drop 2 cards. Hang on. Mr. Bannon. Since I dropped these 2 cards seem like they were trying to get me to hurry up because so the guys just pulled the cards for me. So we're going to use those 2 cards, and we're going to pull a third one about Mr. Bannon. Mr. Bannon alone. Steve Bannon, who is, gosh, I'm trying to think of somebody that was like him, but I can't think of anybody that's like him. I mean, he reminds me of Pigpen from Charlie Brown, but I love Charlie Brown, so that's not a good comparison. But just in terms of the cloud of dirt, he just has this. That's what I mean. I mean, that's the only thing that I can think of to describe how Steve Bannon's energy feels to me. It's like he's walking around in a cloud of dirt. And I mean dirty energy, and he just looks dirty. Anyway, I don't even think if he cleaned up his act in terms of, his appearance, like, those makeovers that they give people sometimes. I think Steve Bannon would he's not clean upable. I think he would still look terrible. When when you have that much bad in you, you can't really hide it. It sort of, it oozes out of your pores. But he could use a good haircut. I mean, I gotta say that. What's going on with him? Because he's in contempt of court now. He's in contempt of, I mean, he was subpoenaed by the January 6th committee, but he listened to 45, who never plays fair and never abides by rules. You know, like 45 was talking about, I'm the law and order president, which is like, you know, he's always saying the opposite of what's actually going on. 45 is. So I guess the thing that I mentioned the other night that I was concerned about was like, is Steve Bannon planning violence? Let's ask that. Because it's a little bit weird when they act like they're not scared at all. And he's not acting scared, but maybe he's hiding it. That's why we have psychic readers, right? Is he hiding it? Is he hiding his fear? No, he's that ignorant. The guys just said, no, he's that ignorant. He's not afraid. Bannon is not afraid. As the courts line it up, wow, interesting. Bannon is like stuck in it. He's a narcissist too, obviously, where what's actually going on there is just like 45, they're like two peas in a pod. Bannon feels like he could never be held accountable for anything that he does. He has this sense of grandiosity, Bannon does, that nothing can ever touch him. So the thing is, the Four of Swords here indicates kind of stuck energy, like he's stuck on that speed, and he can't. By the way, speaking of speed, I did get a hit the other day, and it doesn't take a psychic. He's taking something. Bannon is not like, he's not a sober guy, put it that way. So I'm picking that up. So the Four of Swords indicates that Bannon is physically spent. I don't feel like he sleeps much. I don't know how any of these people can sleep much. I said that about Zuckerberg the other night. It's like, I don't think Zuckerberg's sleeping either, but I digress. The Six of Wands, the court's lining it up right now. The courts are lining up what to do with Bannon with this contempt. And the Judgment card, this is a karma card. So it's coming back to him. What he's done, what Bannon has done to America is going to come back to haunt him. The guides just said the support is slipping. They're giving me numbers in the 30s in terms of where supporters of Bannon and 45 are right now, and I think it was up much higher than that before. That's my psychic impression. So I'm asking the pendulum about Bannon. Is he actually? The other night I said I saw him rearrested. Okay, so let's see if the energy is still. Yeah, the energy is saying he's going to be rearrested. That's exactly what I said the other night. That has not shifted in any way. Bannon will be rearrested. You heard it here on the Psychic News Network. Let's go to Texas quickly. Let's go to Texas and find out what's going on with, this is like the yo-yo show with this abortion ban in Texas. Totally misogynistic move, totally Handmaid's Tale, totally can't believe this is happening in America. A judge deemed it unconstitutional, and that there was a stay for a while, and then I gotta study how the courts work, because that was Merrick Garland sued the state of Texas 2 weeks after the abortion ban. Then there was the rallies and demonstrations last Saturday, and then there was the judge that stepped in and said this is unconstitutional, removed the law, the abortion ban law. Then it got flipped again on its head in the dark of night last night, I think, or the night before, and now the abortion ban is back in place, this law. What the heck? Like I was saying the other night, the judicial system needs a massive jump start. It needs a reboot. So let's see what's going on with that. I did pull the Ten of Swords, which meant massive amounts of suffering for women that are in dire circumstances that just do not feel or able to bear a child. Like a teenager, like a teenager who's very young, who gets assaulted, or, you know, incest is a real thing. I hate to talk about that stuff because it's extremely, extremely, extremely dark. But to actually force a girl to carry a pregnancy to term, this is barbaric. This is barbaric. So yeah, there's going to be more suffering. Unfortunately, I see suffering. I see suffering to the point where the federal government will have to step in, or other countries are going to be looking at America, not like they're not already. Like, what the heck is wrong with the government? That they would let half of the population, they would let women be, like, lose their rights in a democracy. This federal government will be stepping in. But it won't be, like, in time to save, I mean, thousands of girls and women from suffering. And there'll be some that bear a child that have, you know, really, that it's not pretty. Anyway, the Princess of Cups is showing up. At the very, very beginning with this abortion ban law, I saw females in legal positions like judges and lawyers flipping it. So that's judges and lawyers that are female, that are federal judges and lawyers. They're going to flip it around. And the guides just said there's going to be, Joe Biden's going to stack the court. However, we know that Mitch McConnell is a huge problem. That's an understatement. That's my understatement of the day. Mitch McConnell seems to be a little bit of a problem, I think. As the years go by, Mitch McConnell, the guides are showing me Mitch McConnell's brain like it's on one track and one track only, like it got stuck. Like, you know, a long, long time ago, if you had a vinyl record, or if you have vinyl records now, and the needle got stuck, it was just like stuck. You had to go over to the record player, it's a very long time ago, and you had to move the needle so it wouldn't stick, so because it kept repeating the same thing. That happens on the internet sometimes. Mitch McConnell is in that mode where he's stuck. His brain is stuck, and it's stuck in the position of no. It's just, and it's getting to a place where it's just crazy, and the sense about it is if somebody, is if you did something very, very, very bad. This is a sense of Mitch McConnell's brain. It's like if somebody did something very, very, very bad, and they just said, the only way that out of it is to keep on lying and keep on lying and keep on lying and keep on lying. Don't let them ever, don't show them your cards. Don't. So Mitch McConnell is that way in the sense of the no. Just say no, always say no, just say no, always say no, always say no, always say no, and it's just like a record that's stuck. He's not right. I'm going to check the pendulum. Is Mitch McConnell mentally ill? I mean that in all seriousness. This is not a mental health analysis. I wonder if he has a mental illness. Like a sociopath, and the guys are saying yes. So my point is there's a brain issue with him. I am not saying that to be offensive, just hear me out on that. There's something wrong with Mitch McConnell's brain. I'm talking like medically, physiologically. Let's take a look, shall we? I mean, there comes a time in our government where we're going to have to really look at the fact that people need to be having psychiatric evaluations before running for office or being in positions for a lifetime, their entire career. Like, look at Grassley, who's 87 and going to run again, he says. We need to have psychiatric evaluations, or this country's just going to be run by crazy people. Nothing against the crazy people. What I mean is crazy evil people. We're all crazy, right? I know. We're all crazy. But, you know, there's crazy good and there's crazy evil, right? So, I don't know. I don't have a list tonight, but the guys just said, let's look at Mitch McConnell. Wow. I mean, I guess it's looking like slimy tar. Mitch McConnell's energy is just looking, and I'm not even joking, that's what I'm being shown. You know that horrible oil spill? We'll look at that too. In California, that makes my blood boil whenever I think about it, and it should everyone's. So I think of Mitch McConnell and I think of like oil slick. Oh, it's just so gross. It's bad. It's bad. So Mitch McConnell is very concerned about losing money. So that would indicate losing his donators, his donors, and I'm seeing a really big health problem. I'm seeing a really big health problem with Mitch McConnell. And so I was talking about mental health, but I mean physical health too. I almost get the word transplant. Like he might need a transplant or something, like a kidney transplant or something like that. Mitch McConnell. It just, there's something not looking good at all. The guides are saying that he's going to be able to be sweet-talked. No, hang on. I have to unpack this. What do you mean, sweet-talked? Well, like like raising the debt ceiling. There was something. I get that his corporate donors, Mitch McConnell's corporate donors, told him to go ahead and raise the debt ceiling. That's interesting. I'm picking up that Mitch McConnell's going to be in a weakened position. And he's going, what we saw with him raising the debt ceiling, which was so ridiculous that he wouldn't raise it. And now it's just till December. But I saw it continuing, and it should continue. It's just so stupid. I see, this feels like Chuck Schumer's energy. I feel like Chuck Schumer knows how to play Mitch McConnell. Believe it or not, I know it doesn't look like that. That's why this is, you know, we ask the psychic, because we don't know what's, you know, we don't see what's not obvious. But I feel like Mitch McConnell is going to get sweet talked, and the lesser of two evils in his mind for himself are going to be presented more and more each time, and he's going to take the thing that I guess I should rephrase the phrase, the lesser of two evils, because the lesser of two evils to him for his self-interest, not for the country's. So Mitch McConnell is going to get played by the like the Chuck Schumers, you know, of the Democrats, being like, well, you know, this would be really bad for you. This would be less bad for you. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. Anyway, so they're going to get more cooperation. Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about massive amounts of cooperation. I'm just talking about enough to, like, just like to squeak things by. Yeah. I don't know why this just popped in, but Josh Hawley, he's pushing it. I think Josh Hawley, I didn't see much of it, but I do think I saw that he was in support of people bullying parents about the mask mandate, Josh Hawley. So I guess he just popped into my head because I was looking at the evil. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Now, the guides are telling me the evil always was everywhere. It's just, it's more prolific now. It's being more allowed now. That's why we have to stand up, you know, and I've seen like yard signs lately and that say be nice or kindness counts, or, you know, like maybe not exactly that, but if we say we all like kind of got on a bandwagon of it's nice to be nice kind of thing, at least that would counter this a little bit, where people stop and think. And I really do think that they would. Because when you consider, like, say if you had a neighbor and you never talked to your neighbor ever, you just ignored your neighbor, and then all of a sudden one day you really, I don't know, you need a jump start or something, and your neighbor's right there in the driveway, just standing there doing nothing, and it's like, wouldn't you wish that you were nice so that you would feel really comfortable going, hey, bud, can you give me a jump start? Or whatever it is, like, can I borrow a cup of sugar? So this whole idea that it's better for us if we're nice. It makes our life easier if we're nice because, you know, the law of karma, nice out, nice comes back. We really, there's been so much showcasing of bullying and, you know, horrible, rude, violent behavior. We need to showcase the opposite, you think? I'm just going to pull 3 cards about that. Josh Hawley, wow. He sold his soul to the devil, Josh Hawley has. Many of them have, but with him it's quite extreme. With Josh Hawley, it's almost like he's bluffing. This is strange. There's some really strange guidance coming in tonight. I don't know what's going on with that. It's almost like Josh Hawley is bluffing so he can just make a big to-do. It's like a smoke screen. It feels like a smoke screen. It's interesting the way the guides are showing me these guys' energy tonight. And so it doesn't make sense to us, but maybe it makes sense to Josh Hawley to be saying the most outrageous, horrible things. It's almost like if somebody didn't want you to see who they really are, and they would just talk really loud and really in such a way that, you know, just all this bluster and spewing stuff to just throw you off your game. That's what it feels like. So you don't pay attention to the other crimes, the other things they've done. If they're just the loudest person in the room, then it's a way of plowing you down. That's Josh Hawley. Boy, that was a long description. I'm asking about whether people will get nicer. Well, we're gonna see a little bit more of this. As I was just talking about Josh Hawley, that's a pretty good depiction of Josh Hawley. Just all this horribleness spewing from him. But you know, the swords are pointing back at him too. Josh Hawley has committed a ton of crimes. The 4 of Swords, actually what's happened is people are feeling like it's more powerful. They have more power if they're bullying and if they're mean than they do if they just remain peaceful. That's what's happening here. We need to change that story. The 4 of Swords is kind of a little bit of a stalemate with this. People are getting a little attached to this, to being nasty, like it's become their identity. That's really bad. That's really bad. So the 4 of Swords is like not wanting to let go of that behavior, but the feminine rises up. The feminine rises up, and what I mean by that is, I talk a lot about the mother energy, like mothering energy, like the, you know, the other night, January 6th commission, I was thinking about that, and we were reading about that, and I was like, you know what, the women that are working on the January 6th commission are really thinking about the future of the children. And that's going to win out in the end. Should I check the pendulum? I'm going to check. It is going to win out in the end. Being nice is going to win out in the end. This is just, this has a shelf life. So is it going to be this year? We're not going to see the horrible behavior ending this year, but are we going to see it lessen by next year? Yeah, it feels like let this year run its course with the horrible behavior in general, but I feel like it's going to start turning around next year. Is it January? I just feels like, no, it's not January. Is it February? No. March? When are people going to get nicer? Right around April of next year. Okay, I'm going to ask another question to see if this is related to people getting a little nicer. Is COVID going to be... Will COVID be a little bit better, the COVID situation? No. Is it going to be because of some massive hardship that people get nice to each other? It's going to be because of some massive hardship. Wow. Okay. I guess I should pull a few cards to see what that is. Because it just reminds me of after 9/11, everyone got nice. People were being nasty, 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 and everybody got nice. It's a little concerning. What's it going to be that makes everybody decide to be a little nicer? The death. I don't usually read this as death, and I don't predict death, but something's going to come to an end, and it's, you know, because I'm just asking about what is it that makes people decide to be nicer? Not this year. We still got a couple months to go, and then some. But starting next year, it looks like people are going to start to be nicer. They'll be forced to be nicer to each other. Like I was just talking about the neighbor analogy, you know, like you want to like, it's an investment. When you're nice to people that you know you're going to see all the time, that's an investment for you, for your future. Not that you have to have an ulterior motive. We should just be nice naturally, right? But it doesn't help even you to be nasty. So there's something's going to happen that's going to make people go from this to changing. The death card is massive transformation, and then the Empress wins. I think it's the economy. I feel like I'm just pulling stuff out of the air tonight, like randomly. Like I didn't mean to be talking about this type of thing. Does the economy improve, and that's what makes people nicer? No. Well, partly. The pendulum's saying it's partly that. So that points to the infrastructure bill passing. And you know what? If people are like having a struggle, and they're in poverty, and they're not happy, and they've been not nice, and they've hated the Democrats, and then they get help, they get, you know, I know like 50% of America's children got lifted out of poverty somewhat anyway because of Joe Biden's plan. That did go through with parents getting tax credits and, you know, payments, checks in the mail to look after their kids. With those things going through, that's the thing that turns things around. That's what I'm picking up. Wow. Some good news. Maybe we should just stop there. Not just yet. I have a couple more things. Stay with me. Stay with me. I have a couple more things. And I want to know about that oil spill. I want to know, because that's really, I don't know. I wanted to be an environmentalist, and I just couldn't. I was meant to be a psychic and a creative person, so I didn't really, you know, that wasn't my path this time around. Maybe it was in a last lifetime that I was an environmentalist or something like that. But that oil spill off the coast of California, I mean, when I think about it, I just rage. Like, I just can't even believe we're still doing this. That nothing has changed. That you know, and for that matter, nothing's changed on gun reform. Nothing's changed on police reform. So let's ask about the oil spill situation first, if that's going to make some things change. I see people demonstrating in California. I mean, in my psychic vision. And I feel like Governor Newsom is very, very upset about that oil spill. I mean, we're all very upset, I would hope. It's terrible. That was a very fragile marine ecosystem, and that oil spill just killed everything. When are humans going to learn? But I feel like Gavin Newsom is really, like, he's got a plan to shut down offshore drilling. We shouldn't be doing that. We should not be doing that. Oh, interesting. The Two of Cups is like actually the oil drilling company, that boat, whoever is at fault, it was an anchor of an anchor of a tanker. I think they want to make amends. But, you know, so much has been lost at this point. Yeah, this is the Six of Cups and the Ten of Cups. It was hundreds of thousands of gallons of crude oil. Can you imagine? I can't even go there. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, future generations. It's a young generation that's going to put an end to it. I have a 20-year-old family member out there who's watching it come in on the waves. Collectively, gosh, we can't bury our heads in the oily sand. We can't. We just can't. We have to know that our action makes a difference on all fronts. So, yeah, well, let's ask, what do the guides want me to, okay, I want to ask about voting rights. Do I want to keep going? Because, all right, 2 more questions and then we'll go. Because I heard that 45 was having another rally. Let's get that one out of the way, okay? 45 having a rally. I don't know. I will look. I heard he was having a rally tonight. I don't know if I could stomach it. Usually I look just for a social study that goes like this. What happened to those people that they're supporting this con salesman? That's how my social study goes. Me with my sociology hat on. I'm telling you. We're asking the cards, what is up with that? He's just trying to defend his position. And the guides just said he has nothing else to do. 45 has nothing else to do, so he's having a rally and he's trying to defend his position. The King of Swords says somebody's going to look a whole lot stronger than him. And the Queen of Pentacles, this is weird because I feel like the Queen of Pentacles is like, it's a justice system, and it's almost like, well, do you remember the last rally? I don't think I brought it up. The last time 45 had a rally, before he had the rally, it was in Georgia, the last one, a few weeks ago. And I pulled cards about it, and I said, he's just going to get up there and incriminate himself. And I said, and I see Marjorie there, too. It seems like there's somebody there. I think it's Marjorie. And sure enough, she was there, and he pointed her out, and he was like, you know, telling how wonderful she is. And he totally incriminated himself when he talked about, I think he talked about the call he made to the Raffensperger. Yeah, he totally incriminated himself, and that's what I said he was going to do. But I feel like there's a woman who's watching. There's a woman in a position of power that's watching, and that's like, the guides are showing me she's taking notes. She's taking notes of the incriminating things that he's saying to use against him. I've asked in the past if he's running in 2024. I repeatedly get no. And we're just going to look at voting rights, and then I'll let you go because it's a weekend and you want to have you want to go do something. If you're watching this on the weekend. And if you watch the other video that I do with Corey on Bridge Cape Ann, we're looking at Monday to do another one, I believe. I just have to check with him. Okay, so voting rights. Wow, the death card again. How is this possible? The Republicans will be up to nefarious things. They're fascists trying to make this a fascist government. I am not joking. That's not hyperbole. The Republicans are trying to turn our democracy into fascism. I am not kidding. That's not me just saying it that way. It's true. But we're going to put an end to it. And this the abortion ban is a big part of mobilizing people. The men too will mobilize. And that's going to be a catalyst. They kind of go hand in hand. The voting rights and women's rights go hand in hand in terms of what's going to tip this over to the point where the Republicans can't keep up their dog and pony show. They won't be able to. How many times can you just lie and lie and lie and bully and control and dominate in a country that's used to being a democracy before it just has to come to an end? there we have it. I'm almost at 40 minutes. I gotta go because I don't want to make this too long. Love you all. If you'd like to book a personal reading or a Halloween party, she remembered to say because she has her Halloween decorations out, or a Halloween party. You just set up the phone in a room and you have FaceTime on, and each person that's at your party comes into this room that you have decorated like all Halloween, and we do a 15-minute reading for each person, and it's a wicked lot of fun. So if you want to book a Halloween party, let me know. AnnetteDion7@gmail.com. That's also what you email me to book a reading. And thank you for all your kind comments. I'm really having a lot of fun enjoying meeting you all who have booked readings. It's really been a pleasure. It's been a bright light in my life. So thank you so much. Remember, Church of Spirituality, I will record it and post it, and you can watch that anytime after tomorrow or tomorrow. I'm not sure what time. Okay. Namaste. I've said too much. Bye.